Welcome, everyone. We're so delighted to be together, albeit virtually, to celebrate our phenomenal honorees. My name is Jessica Klein. I'm the Pro Bono Counsel at Sullivan and Cromwell, and I am the incoming co-chair of the Pro Bono and Legal Services Committee of the City Bar. This past year, I've had the chance to chair our Legal Services Award Committee, and working with some of my colleagues on our City Bar Committee, we were inundated with just incredible nominations for so many New Yorkers who are doing unbelievable work each day. And it was our challenge to come up with just these 6 outstanding honorees. And we are delighted to be able to celebrate their work with you. And I know, as I was when I read the nomination materials for each of them, you too will be inspired as you hear of their work, both as individuals and collectively, the work that they do in our city each day. So with that, we will be hearing introductory remarks from City Bar President Sheila Boston, and then Loretta Lynch will be presenting the awards to our 6 honorees. Sheila?
Thank you so much, Jessica, and thank you so much to our selection committee. I'm just so indebted to all of you. We all are. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sheila Boston. I am president of the New York City Bar Association, and it is indeed my pleasure to welcome you to the 31st Annual Legal Services Awards. I am delighted to share the digital dais today with the one and only attorney Loretta Lynch, upon whom this association bestowed honorary membership in 2018. Now, at the time, we noted her early commitment to the provision of legal services to those who could not afford them, as demonstrated by her participation in her law school's legal aid bureau. Between that, and of course, her ultra-strong public service record, Loretta Lynch is a gem and champion of the legal profession. And we are just so very honored to have her here with us today. So thank you, Loretta. Now, when I began my term as president of the City Bar, well, a little over a year ago now, I outlined 6 pillars to help guide the work of the association. Those 6 include COVID-19 recovery, access to justice, criminal justice reform, diversity, equity, and inclusion, protection of the rule of law, and mental health and wellness. Now, as the months have progressed, and as our members have embraced the work on these issues, I've been struck by just how interrelated they are. Consider Jay Johnson's devastating report on racial bias in the New York State court system, noting that the overwhelming majority of the civil or criminal litigants in the housing, family, civil, and criminal courts in New York City are people of color, he wrote. The sad picture that emerges is, in effect, a second-class system of justice for people of color in New York State. In particular, regarding the housing, family, civil, and criminal courts of New York City, Secretary Johnson reported that over and over, we heard about the dehumanizing and demeaning cattle call culture in these high-volume courts. So, can we have equal access to justice, or operate within the rule of law, or reform our justice system without diversity, equity, and inclusion? I think you know the answer. I recently had the honor, along with my direct predecessor as City Bar President, Roger Juan Maldonado, of testifying before the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights on the issue of right to counsel and racial discrimination, specifically as it relates to eviction proceedings in housing court. We spoke of the association's longstanding support and advocacy for robust funding of the Legal Services Corporation, as well as state and local funding of legal services organizations that represent low-income litigants, particularly in civil, family, and housing courts. And we stressed our general support for a civil Gideon, whereby any person facing a loss of one of life's essentials should be guaranteed legal representation. The passage of New York City's legislation on a right to counsel in housing, which has become a model for other cities and states, has showcased the difference a lawyer makes. Evictions in New York City have dropped by nearly 41% since 2013. And warrants of eviction in fiscal year 2020 decreased 52% compared to the year before. As it is in housing, so it is in other areas. And one of the best examples I've seen is in the work of the Consumer Bankruptcy Project of the City Bar Justice Center. While the failure rate for pro se bankruptcy filings in New York State is a stunning 90%, the Justice Center's project has a virtual 100% success rate while handling around 100 bankruptcy filings a year. If the wheels of justice turn too slowly, it is often because the courts are overburdened by having to assist and ensure a fair forum for large numbers of unrepresented litigants. And not only does a right to counsel smooth the work of the courts, it saves money elsewhere. Research done for us a few years back found that a national immigration federal public defender system would essentially pay for itself through cost savings in detention, foster care, and transportation. Those we are honoring today work in a variety of areas, whether it be immigration, re-entry, domestic violence, gender identity, and so much more. But what all of you have in common is that you provide a path to justice for your clients. You give them hope. You give us all hope. You're exactly why I am able to call this prominent bar association a bar of hope. You do the type of work that personally I call God's work. You are our profession's everyday heroes and sheroes. The Legal Services Awards that the City Bar is bestowing today were established to recognize the efforts of lawyers and non-lawyers who have directly provided free legal services to indigent clients. Now, I'm going to go ahead and keep it real with you. When we say indigent clients or those who can't afford a lawyer, we know to whom we are often referring. With a hat tip to Secretary Johnson, we know that it is too often we are referring to people of color, languishing in a second-class system of justice. Well, as our society undergoes a racial reckoning that puts you, whom we are honoring today, on the front lines of the struggle, a struggle which is all about bringing fairness and justice to the underserved, leveling the playing field for the marginalized, and transforming our justice system into one that is truly diverse, equitable, and inclusive. And for that, our awardees, we owe you sincere thanks, gratitude, respect, and honor. So peace and blessings to each and one of you. Congratulations. And now I will hand over the virtual stage to my beloved friend, the inimitable Loretta Lynch. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sheila, for that kind introduction. And thank you for leading the City Bar through this year unlike any other, a time that has truly called upon all of us to reach deep into our reasons for joining this wonderful profession and make them real for those people who have been shut out for far too long, whose voices have not been heard. And thank you for uplifting those voices of all. Good afternoon, everyone. Friends, family, distinguished honorees. It is truly my privilege and my honor to share this virtual stage with the honorees today and to present the 31st Annual Legal Services Awards given by the Association of the Bar of the City of New York. This afternoon, you will hear about 6 incredible individuals who work tirelessly to change the lives of New Yorkers. You will be inspired and uplifted by their work. And of course, we hope that their example leads all of us to do more, because the work that they have done over the course of their careers, it ranges from family law to reentry work, to immigration, to community organizing, but they are all united in their tireless and unwavering commitment to justice, a justice that we know is often felt unequally by far too many in our society, because far too many people often feel the burdens of the law while attaining none of the benefits of the law. And these 6 individuals have all said, they have looked at that situation and said, not on my watch. More to the point, they have dedicated their lives, their careers, their very being to doing something about it. They represent the best of our profession and the commitment that spans all of us to do more with what all of us have been given. Now I'm going to move right into the award presentations because I want all of you to have a chance to hear from these outstanding, uplifting, heartwarming individuals. The first award that I am delighted to present tonight is to Mr. Carlos Jesse. Carlos is the project director of the Next Door Project at the Community Service Society. Now, Carlos joined the Community Service Society in 1988 as a community organizer, a position that has been a springboard for some other great careers that we're aware of. He's been working within the Community Service Society's Voter Participation Project. That's an innovative program that marshaled existing community resources in Brownsville, Bedford-Stuyvesant, and other Brooklyn neighborhoods to register voters and to enhance community engagement. But Carlos did not stop there. He then moved on to work with special projects for the Community Service Society's Retired and Senior Volunteer Program. And in 2007, he started work with the newly created Next Door Project. Under Carlos' direction, the Next Door Project has become a statewide model for delivering re-entry related services, and in doing so in a culturally sensitive, respectful, and non-judgmental way. In addition to all that he does at the Next Door Project, Carlos has the respect of community partners, and he is also a bishop in his church, truly a servant leader. Carlos is a dedicated, creative, compassionate, and effective advocate for individuals with conviction histories. Over the 14 years that Carlos has been associated with the Next Door Project, he has worked with thousands of individuals who face seemingly insurmountable barriers to full participation in the community and the life of this city. Carlos has been instrumental in brightening the futures of these individuals and their communities. His colleagues say about him, he models for his clients, his colleagues, and the advocacy community in general what it means to be the advocate that our clients deserve. Truly, Carlos has worked to help bring so many of our friends, our family members, all of our returning citizens truly home. So for all of these reasons and for so much more, we present Carlos Jesse with the Legal Services Award. And Carlos, it is my pleasure to invite you to briefly share a few remarks as well.
Thank you so much. Greetings, Bar President Boston, to Chair Jessica Klein, and certainly to the Honorable Loretta Lynch, my fellow award recipients. Trust me when I say that I am humbled and honored to be a recipient of this prestigious award. Thank you very much. I would like to sincerely thank Judy Whiting, General Counsel for the Community Service Society, my mentor, whose wisdom and great wit has been instrumental in encouraging me and improving me in this work over the years. I would also like to thank those that have supported my nomination, including David Jones, Esquire, the President of the Community Service Society, Rachel Cohen, Senior Case Manager for ACE, Dr. Kimberly Westcott, former colleague, longtime Next Door Project volunteers, Sylvia Elon and Kamal Milan. My colleagues here, Santa Soriano, Vasquez, Esty Connor, Stephen Dunn, last but not least, Dean Bradley. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank the thousands of New Yorkers who have given me the chance to provide rap sheet services for them over the years. I have learned so much from them, and doing this work has made me a better person. Receiving this award makes me even more determined to be a better service to these New Yorkers that we serve, so I can do my part to break down barriers that will cause sometimes civil life sentences. This award will have a special place on my wall, but most of all, in my heart. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Carlos, for those inspiring words and also for the work that you have done. Our next award recipient, Barbara Krischko. Barbara Krischko of Sanctuary for Families is the director of the Family Law Project for the Brooklyn Family Justice Center. Barbara is the consummate public service attorney. She's been representing low-income victims of gender-based violence for more than 20 years. She saw the need, she stepped up to fill it, and we're so grateful that she did. Barbara started at Sanctuary for Families as a volunteer, assuming the position of staff attorney in the year 2000. And throughout her entire tenure at Sanctuary, Barbara has practiced in Brooklyn, handling complex matters on behalf of the most vulnerable clients. In the early 2000s, Barbara was directly assigned to domestic violence cases by intake judges in family court. And there she handled an extremely high caseload while also providing each client with a level of focus and holistic representation needed to serve their acute safety and related needs. She was truly their guardian angel. Over the years, Barbara has become one of the most experienced family law practitioners in New York City, handling a complex caseload involving highly contested orders of protection, custody, child support, matrimonial, other cases, as well as supervising her accomplished team. In addition to individual cases, Barbara works to advocate for policies that assist domestic violence survivors, and she has done so throughout this most difficult pandemic as well. Never have her services been so needed, I would submit to you, as in this past year. Colleagues describe Barbara as a sensitive and a zealous advocate, one who is brave, one who is incredibly hardworking, and one who has literally saved the lives of many of her clients. Barbara Krischko has dedicated her entire legal career to serving others. She exemplifies the best of public interest legal practice. For all of these reasons and more, and on behalf of all of those whose lives you have touched as well as saved, we present Barbara Krischko with the Legal Services Award. And Barbara, let me invite you to briefly share a few words with us.
Thank you so much. And good afternoon to everyone. According to Shirley Chisholm, service is the rent we pay for the privilege of living on this earth. It has been my privilege to pay that rent and serve others through my work at Sanctuary for Families since 1999. I have learned so much from my clients and my colleagues who inspire me to continue fighting the good fight day after day in Brooklyn Family and Supreme Courts, and challenging the misogyny, racism, and other forms of discrimination and oppression that we encounter in our work. Unfortunately, the desperate need for services for survivors of domestic violence has only been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. The escalation of gender-based violence during the global crisis and the disproportionate impact of the pandemic upon economically disadvantaged communities, particularly women of color and immigrant women, has highlighted how our work as legal services providers is just more important and vital than ever. I want to thank the City Bar Association for recognizing the work that we do for lower income New Yorkers in need. And I want to express my gratitude to my colleagues from Sanctuary for Families, a few of whom I'm with today, so thank you. Particularly Jennifer Friedman for nominating me for this award, as well as others who supported my nomination, including Dorchen Leithold, the always inspiring director of Sanctuary's Legal Center, Hannah West, one of my colleagues at the Brooklyn Family Justice Center, as well as others I have worked with there, and Ellen Rosenberg, a prior recipient of this award who has been one of my longstanding mentors in public service. I'm just deeply honored and to be recognized for this work about which I care so deeply. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Barbara, for those inspiring words, for the work you do, and for the service that you have provided. Our next award recipient, Stefanie Rivera. Stefanie Rivera is the Director of Client Services for the Sylvia Rivera Law Project. Stefanie works closely with lawyers, legal interns, policy advocates, community organizers, and other stakeholders to advocate on behalf of indigent communities, to transform the civil legal services profession to be more trans-inclusive and more intersectional, to truly serve all who need assistance. Stefanie has played a pivotal role in the Sylvia Rivera Law Project's development in a variety of capacities, as a volunteer, as a translator, and currently as the Director of Client Services. In her current role, Stefanie serves clients, and she assists in making sure that the Sylvia Rivera Law Project is a safe and accessible space for all. Stefanie routinely trains civil court judges, court officers, law students, and legal services attorneys about working respectfully with transgender, gender nonconforming, and intersex clients. To that end, she's given talks at Harvard Law School, the Legal Aid Society, and other institutions on the powerful ways in which lawyers and advocates can uplift people and have widespread community impact. In her work, Stefanie goes further because she also provides mentorship and support to formerly incarcerated people returning home, as well as new and up-and-coming transgender lawyers, paralegals, as well as transgender people simply trying to survive in this world. Stefanie has consistently dedicated herself to serving low-income trans people in New York City. She comes from the communities that she serves. She's overcome many of the struggles her clients are experiencing, and her colleagues describe her as a passionate, humble, empathetic, and fierce legal advocate. And fierce indeed she is. Stefanie, for all of these reasons, for all that you have done to recognize those whom the law often turns away from, to pull them into the light of equality as well, we present you, Ms. Rivera, with the Legal Services Award. And Stefanie, let me invite you to share a few words at this time.
Thank you. I am deeply humbled. I'm humbled and grateful to all of you, to all the people who have always supported me. I spent very lonely days and lonely nights in darkness, where I come from the experience of having come from a broken household, from abuse, from being incarcerated myself as a transgender person. You couldn't have told me all those years ago that my life would change so drastically. And I am honored and humbled to be able to do the work that I do. I live and breathe this work. I'm part of the community. I have lived it. I have experienced many things being behind bars previously, and having seen some of the abuses and injustices that go on behind bars. I can only hope to make the late Sylvia Rivera proud. She's someone that I have the immense privilege of having gotten to know, who extended an opportunity to me when many of folks at the time probably wouldn't have even thought to give someone like myself the opportunity. I want to take this opportunity to also thank the people who have consistently delivered and been my ride to dies, my true supporters, from the current staff at Sylvia Rivera Law Project, Kimberly McKenzie, Lacey Lynch, Sasha Alexander. We are different pieces of a puzzle, but we're all striving to do this work together. And I could not do the work that I do without you guys. And I also want to take the opportunity to thank Kyle Rapinion, Jason Wu, Andrew Ortiz. I would love to thank all those who have been previously on staff and on collective, who have supported me throughout the years since the early 2000s at Sylvia Rivera Law Project, including Dean Spade, who was the original founder of SRLP back in the early 2000s. There were many times in my life where I thought that I had truly met the end. I just did not see someone like myself being able to proceed and being able to excel as someone who's a high school dropout, as someone who has learning disabilities, as someone who had every obstacle and every challenge placed in front of her. I come from a Latinx household, and we face many challenges coming from the urban neighborhoods in LA. And so for me, it's like very important to be able to continuously do the work, especially for folks that have always been marginalized and on the outer fringes. And I will continue to do this work with every ounce of everything that I have to ensure that every person is touched and that we're able to make significant impacts. And I want to thank all of you. I'm truly humbled and blessed to be receiving this award with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Stefanie, for all that you do and all that you will continue to do on behalf of the most vulnerable members of our society.
Thank you.
I am so delighted to be able to present our next award to Laura Russell. Laura Russell is the director of the Legal Aid Society Family Domestic Violence Unit in the Bronx. Laura has dedicated the past 25 years of her legal career to serving low to moderate income clients through her work at various legal services organizations. She's also worked with the SHIELD program of the Association of the Bar of the City of New York. And since 2007, she's worked for the Legal Aid Society Bronx Neighborhood Office, where she currently serves as the director of the Family Domestic Violence Unit. Laura began her legal career in legal services as an attorney for the local 237 Teamsters Union. She stood out there while maintaining a caseload of more than 100 active cases with a focus on matrimonial and family law matters. She was inspired by her clients' stories. She was dedicated to achieving greater change. Shortly thereafter, she was named director of the Center for Battered Women's Legal Services at Sanctuary for Families. In this role, Laura successfully lobbied for systemic change for low-income litigants in divorce cases, including an all-important right to counsel in Supreme Court matters. For her efforts there, she was awarded the In the Trenches Award from the Lawyers Committee Against Domestic Violence in 2006. Laura has served as co-chair of the New York Women's Bar Association Domestic Violence Committee continuously since 2009. She's also been a long-term member of the City Bar's Judiciary Committee, ensuring that judicial applicants consider issues of key importance to indigent litigants who may appear before them. Laura is truly unique in her knowledge of matrimonial law and her ability to advise clients in other areas of law that support their economic stability. To that end, she has been an innovator in expanding the services provided for indigent litigants. For example, at Legal Aid, she successfully created a domestic violence consumer position, which provides specialized consumer attorneys to work with domestic violence survivors. She is beloved by family law practitioners, not only for her work on behalf of her clients, but for her mentorship, for her generosity, for her the constant sharing of her knowledge throughout the legal community. Laura has dedicated her legal talents and her career to helping underprivileged victims of violence move forward to a better life. For all of these reasons and so many more, it is my honor to present Laura Russell with the Legal Services Award. And Laura, at this time, I invite you to share a few words.
Good afternoon. Thank you for honoring me with this award. I'm so appreciative. I would like to thank those who nominated me: Amanda Norieko, the president of the New York Women's Bar, Judge Laura Drager, and Adrian Holder, the attorney in charge of the Civil Division of the Legal Aid Society. I also want to thank my family, especially my mother, my friends, mentors, and colleagues who have supported me during my career. I am so grateful to be a legal services attorney, and I would recommend this job to anyone who wants to be an attorney. My colleagues and my clients make this job so worthwhile, and I am forever grateful for them. I know this year has been difficult for all of us, but it only continues to show the need that we have for this work, and the fact that we really do we so need legal services attorneys, and I'm so appreciative for everything that all of us do. So I just want to end by thanking everyone again for this honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laura, for all that you do, and I know all that you will continue to do. It is my tremendous privilege to present our next award to Andrea Saenz. Andrea Saenz is the attorney in charge of the New York Immigrant Family Unity Project. at Brooklyn Defender Services. The NYI-FUP program, implemented at 3 different legal services organizations, provides universal representation to detained New Yorkers who are facing deportation. In leading this program and Brooklyn Defender Services, Andrea leads a team of over 30 attorneys, social workers, paralegals, and administrative staff who are at the vanguard of advancing the all-important right to counsel in immigration court. Andrea also serves on the board of a sister organization, the National Immigration Project of the National Lawyers Guild, which provides support to lawyers providing direct services to non-citizens all around the country, and she does critical advocacy for these individuals. She also serves as a consultant to other pilot projects for universal representation of detained immigrants through the Vera Safe Network. She has herself represented countless individuals before the immigration courts and argued on their behalf in the federal district courts and before the Second Circuit. Andrea is a passionate advocate. For example, she once hopped into a car on a moment's notice and drove deep into New Jersey when she learned that there was a court record there demonstrating that her client was not convicted of a charged offense. Her actions resulted in his prompt release from ICE detention. Another amazing example of her work is the Levy-Jayan case, where Andrea was able to demonstrate to the Second Circuit that her client was in fact a US citizen and should be released from immigration detention, where he had been held for 2 years. That case, which turns on an interpretation of the Immigration and Nationality Act, has been cited by other federal courts throughout the country. Andrea is an advocate with her ear to the ground, who understands that the most effective advocacy comes from remaining engaged with the work. Now, during the pandemic, this most difficult year, Andrea mobilized her team to fight for the release of vulnerable clients in immigration detention. And she and her team have won freedom for over 100 clients since the start of the pandemic. A true expert in her field, Andrea is also tremendously generous with her expertise. She has set a powerful example for other Latinas in the profession. She regularly mentors and supports attorneys of color, and I submit to you she is an example to us all. For all of these reasons, and for so much more, it is my honor to present Andrea Saenz with the Legal Services Award. Andrea, at this time, I invite you to briefly share a few remarks.
Thank you so much. Thank you, General Lynch, and to my colleagues and friends at BDS. And I want to thank the wonderful people who helped nominate me, Bridget Kessler and my fellow supervisors at BDS and my director, Lisa Schreibersdorf. And as much as this would be nice in person, because we're on Zoom, I do have my mom and my aunts from California watching, and I have to thank them for their lifelong love and support. It has been a privilege to represent immigrants facing deportation and to help amplify their stories for as long as I have gotten to do it. And it's only possible as a team effort and to have the support of BDS the way that I have. It is the only way that I would have survived a very long last 4 years in particular. I really want to thank someone who isn't here, who I've been thinking of, and that is Judge Robert Katzman of the Second Circuit, who is one of the reasons that we have the scope of access to counsel for immigrants in New York and nationally that we have today, who unintentionally changed the course of my career because I get to do this work as a result of his advocacy, and someone who's an example of public service, humanity, and humility that I aspire to. Getting this award is very meaningful and very bittersweet for me because, as some people know, I'm actually about to leave BDS and direct services and to take a position as an immigration judge. And I'm very sorry to leave the everyday highs and lows of working with individual clients that all of us on this call know, the human connections, the chaos of court, the drives to jails, the fights with agencies. So I'm incredibly grateful for this chance to reflect and this recognition of what my team and I were able to build and what I'm leaving in incredibly good hands. I'm inspired by the examples of Judge Katzman, of General Lynch, and someone I just learned about this week, Betty Staton, the person who I think is next, of people who have combined government service and individual pro bono and direct services to build an incredible career, recognizing the humanity and dignity of others. So thank you to the City Bar for this incredible honor, and thanks to all of you who are receiving this award today for your very inspiring work. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Congratulations on your elevation to the bench, but we know that you will take your passion and dedication to justice and equality with you wherever you go, and all who come before you will benefit from that. So thank you. It is indeed my honor as we move through this program and we come to our final award of the afternoon to give this award to someone who has been an institution in the legal community, particularly in Brooklyn, for so many years. She's been an example to so many of us who have trod through the challenges of public service. Betty Staton. Betty Staton is the president of Brooklyn Legal Services, an organization that has provided free legal services to poor and low-income Brooklyn residents for over 50 years. She is a distinguished lawyer. She is a legal scholar. She is a shining light for us all. Betty attended New York University School of Law, where she was a founding member of the school's Black, Latino, and Asian Pacific American Law Alumni Association, now known as the Law Alumni of Color Association. After graduating from law school, Betty began her legal career as a staff attorney and later Director of Community Outreach and Education at Bedford-Stuyvesant Community Legal Services. Now, in that role, Betty was responsible for the community law-related program, which included weekly Know Your Rights seminars, law-related courses in the public elementary and high schools in District 16, and select seminars at senior centers. She also developed a 16-week certificate course, which trained laypersons in legal advocacy. Over a period of 3 years, approximately 300 participants received certificates, at least 3 of whom subsequently graduated from law school. Betty has continued to open up our profession to so many. And in 1987, she joined 2 other African-American women to organize the first African-American female law firm in the state of New York, Boyd, Staton, and Cave. She was a partner in that firm until her appointment to the family court bench in 1991 by Mayor David Dinkins. Betty currently serves as secretary on the board of directors of the Black Child Development Institute, New York affiliate. She is a life member of Church Women United, of the Bedford-Stuyvesant Community Partnership, and the Association of Black Women Attorneys. Betty has humbly served and empowered the most vulnerable in our society for most of her life. She has been an example to so many Black women attorneys, including myself. Colleagues at Legal Services in the NYC say, Betty is an inspiration to all who come in contact with her, both because of her amazing accomplishments and the quality of her character. She's been a mentor and a role model to countless public interest attorneys and staff, community leaders, and activists. In her own life, she waded fearlessly through treacherous waters, and then she built a bridge so those coming behind her could have easier passage. For all of these reasons and more, for the example and guidance that you have been to so many attorneys along this way, it is my honor to present Betty Staton with the Legal Services Award. And now, Betty, let me invite you to share a few words.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to thank President Sheila Boston. I want to thank Jessica. I want to thank the New York Bar Selection Committee for deciding to give me this very prestigious award. I also want to thank all of my colleagues and friends who supported me getting the award. Those persons included one of my favorite attorneys, Jacqueline Griffin, really dedicated attorney. Also, Burnell Greer, who is the CEO of Impact, that very preeminent organization in Brooklyn, for my CEO and Executive Director, Ron Rasmussen, who has for many, many years fought for justice for poor and low-income people, and for my fellow NYU alum, the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries, who is a powerhouse in the Congress, fighting and standing up for the rights of not only Congress District Congressional District 8, but throughout the city. I also want to thank the many staff members, including the project director of all 5 of our constituent organizations, for the staff, the support staff, and for all of the people in Legal Services NYC that has kept really supporting and representing our clients throughout the pandemic. We have not stopped. As I listen to all of the fellow honorees, and I congratulate them, I could have actually worked at any of those organizations because they do work that I love. But I was persuaded very early before I went to law school to work in legal services because of a presentation by one of his staff members way back in the 70s, who talked about what they were doing and really gave me the way that I could represent the people that I was working with at the time to solve their problems. And with the encouragement of a family member and with a full scholarship from NYU, which made it possible. I'm so grateful to my mother, who, as a young woman, joined the migration that brought her family, me and my sister, to New York City. I'm so grateful to all of the people who supported me as a young mother, as a not so young mother. Actually, I was in my 40s going to law school, but as a mother who was a single parent, trying to work through law school, all of those people. I come to this occasion very humbly and acknowledging that I've been so blessed and that God has really fulfilled his Jeremiah 29 promise not to harm me, but to give me hope and a future. And I am so happy about that. I am also happy to say that when people ask me, and they ask me very often, because I have been working in this field a long time, started late in life, you're still working? How are you still working? When are you going to retire? And when they ask me that, I think from Robert Cross's Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening, those last words when he says, I have promises to keep and many miles to go before I sleep. I think of Maya Angelou's Still Be Rise, those last words of hers that said, bringing the gifts of my ancestors, that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I have so much energy, and I'm so grateful that I do have the energy that I have in my 9th decade or 8th decade. I don't remember what it is, but anyway, it's there. And today I really strive to follow what we call the fruit of the spirit. Some of you may be aware of that. The fruit of the spirits are not that easy to always follow. And especially sometimes I get kind of stopped at patience, but I still try to do it. And I still try to think and center my thoughts on things that are true and noble, pure and lovely and of good report. But most of all, each day, as I go through my job and as I see the work that is being done and I see the work that needs to be done, and I think about really, where can I still be useful? How can I still be useful? I really think each day, and in every county that I come to, that I look to Micah 6 and 8, which says, what does the Lord require of you? He requires me to act justly. He requires me to do what is just and what is right. He requires me to be compassionate, to show mercy so that I can walk humbly with him. And as I close, I want to congratulate President Boston on her recent recipient as an NBA Region 2 living legend, and also Congressman Jeffrey's upcoming awards. And I want to say to all of the folk who are working so hard, and this has been a very, very hard year for all of us, but there are folks who never stop doing, who never stop and I want to continue to encourage them. There's work to be done, and we should not grow weary of doing what is right and what is just. And I will continue to do this work as long as I can. And I thank you so much for the award. And thank you, Loretta Lynch, for the introduction. And thank you for your long, long history of being on the right side of justice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Betty, for those inspiring words and for the work that you've done that has inspired so many. As we come to the end of this outstanding awards presentation, I know that so many of us who are watching and have heard from our honorees are feeling moved, are feeling empowered, are wondering how can we help, are perhaps looking back on our own choices and wishing that we had also been able to do as much as these award recipients. There is room for all of us to contribute. I know that all of us, as we look back on our choice to enter this wonderful profession of ours, remember the beginning of those days when we thought about the law as a source of help and solace for so many people. And we entered into it with a simple goal: to help people and to change the world. Of course, time moves on. Many of us get pulled into the stream of life, the billable hour, other demands, but our honorees have held on to that initial mission, and they have made it real. They've all spoken of the people who've supported them along the way. I've been struck by the mention of so many team members and family members and friends and loved ones who have supported them and uplifted them as they do this challenging work. This reflects their commitment to justice, to community, and to empowerment for all. So to all of us who are watching today, who will watch it later, please join me in congratulating all of our award recipients. They truly honor us and our profession. So congratulations to all of you, and thank you. Thank you so very much for all that you do and that you will continue to do. Because we know that as you move forward, what you will be doing is you'll be helping people. You will be changing the world. Now that concludes our program for this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. And I know that all of you have found something to inspire you today. Thank you so very much.